and Customs Enforcement confirms that more than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States. The letter here tells the tale. Hello, I'm John Roberts in Washington. You believe this, Sandra?
Which means they are here, and this is just an unbelievable development. I'm Sandra Smith in New York. Good to be with you, John. This is America Reports. Let's get right to Bill Melugin. He's got this news for us. He's live out of Douglas, Arizona right now, where Vice President Kamala Harris is set to visit later this afternoon. Bill, the details of this news, what do you have?
Yeah, and Sandra, bear with me. We just got these numbers moments ago, but it's a jaw dropper to say the least. So to set the stage here, let me just explain what these numbers mean. ICE has something called a non-detained docket. Essentially what that is it means migrants who were encountered by DHS but are no longer in federal custody. So who's on this non-detained docket? It's illegal immigrants who were caught and released at the border, released with the court date years away. They're in immigration proceedings, combined with illegal immigrants who have already been ordered deported from the country by a judge but are still here roaming the country. So keep that in mind, this non-detained docket. According to a letter that the acting director of ICE just sent to Texas Congressman Tony Gonzalez, on ICE's non-detained docket, they're currently tracking 425,000 non-citizens who have been convicted of a crime. Of that number, over 13,000 non-citizens have convictions for homicide and are on the non-detained docket, meaning they're roaming the country right now. On top of that, there are another 15,811 non-citizens convicted of sexual assault who are roaming the country right now on ICE's non-detained docket. It doesn't stop there. Those are convictions. The ICE director also says there are currently just under 1,900 non-citizens on the non-detained docket who have pending homicide charges who are roaming the country, and another 4,250 non-citizens who have pending sexual assault charges who are roaming the country on the non-detained docket. So people's eyes might be glazing over right now with all the numbers we just threw at you. Just to put it in a nutshell right here, what we've learned from the acting ICE director via this letter to Congressman Tony Gonzalez is right now there are over 13,000 illegal aliens convicted of homicide who are roaming the United States right now. There are another 15,811 illegal aliens roaming the country right now who have been convicted of sexual assault, and there are even more who are facing charges for homicide and charges for sexual assault. So this just goes to show, guys, the non-detained docket has exploded under the Biden administration to over, I believe it's 7.3 million. They're anticipating it could hit 8 million by the end of the year. But looking at the numbers on this letter right here, there are currently over 600,000 non-citizens on ICE's non-detained docket who are either convicted, 600,000 non-citizens on this non-detained docket who are roaming the country right now. Of that, 425,000 have already been convicted of crimes. 222,000 are pending crimes. And again, the most serious crimes we just told you about.
And that was a report from the ICE director. Take in mind that when they try to work with these local cities and municipalities, they cannot get any help or cooperation from those who are in these sanctuary cities. And so now you have, me, honestly, it'd be like, hey, listen, you're not going to work with the federal government. We're going to arrest you for obstructing justice. I don't care if you say you're a sanctuary city or not. And so, that doesn't look good for Kamala at all. That looks very bad. But, she was the border czar and, on day one, I'm going to fix everything. But you're causing a problem now. You're not even fixing it now. And when she went down to the border, it was just a little photo op, just a quick 20 minutes in and out talking to one of the directors or VP of, the Border Patrol, which he even said as a photo op. It's, he didn't talk to none of the people. He didn't do like what Trump would do, come down there and spend hours and just figure out what's going on, talk to the families, talk to, all these different people. It was just for show, because even when she was supposed to be over the border, she said one time to Lester Holt, "We've been to the border." And he said, "You have not been to the border." And then so she was like, "Well, we haven't been to Europe either," because the little devil don't even care. And she, and the reason why they're bringing all these people in is because it's a plan by the United Nations and Klaus Schwab and all these others of these other NGOs to bring in so many illegal immigrants to destroy the fabric of this country, so they can bring in surveillance and tracking systems and all these other things, because it's, again, order out of chaos. Create a problem, and then government and NGOs and all these other people come in as a savior of the world and present a solution which is far worse, if not equal to, the problem. Here's another report right here on Gateway Pundit. ICE report reveals, which coincides with the one from Fox News. Gateway Pundit. ICE report reveals over 13,000 murderers, 15,000 rapists, 425,000 convicted criminals allowed into America by Biden-Harris open border. This is what they were responsible for, and this is what they've done on purpose. So it is them. It is their fault. They're responsible for this whole thing, and they're doing it on purpose. And this is why you're having all these children getting raped, people getting kidnapped, smuggled in, all these different things and these crimes that you're hearing about taking place and happening. And yet, you have people in government that are told to stand down. There is a UN document. I'm not going to show much of this video, but I want you to see this real quick. All right.
Person to put this on YouTube. It's an official UN document that the global elites don't want you to talk about. The United Nations published this replacement migration report back in 2000, and guess what? They laid out the blueprint for what we're seeing in full force today. The solution to declining and aging populations in developed nations like the United States, France, Germany, and Japan. Now, this isn't just about a few immigrants crossing borders. No, we're talking about a systematic overhaul of entire populations. Look at the numbers in the report. Italy, for example, is predicted to see its population shrink by a whopping 28% by 2050 without migration. What does the UN propose to stop this replacement migration on a massive scale? For Italy, they suggest needing 12.6 million migrants. For the entire European Union, 47 million migrants by 2050. Let that sink in. But here's the kicker. This isn't just some far-off theory. We're seeing this play out right now. The southern border of the United States is being flooded with migrants, and Europe is facing a migrant crisis, the likes of which we've never seen before. All the while, politicians and global elites keep telling us that this is necessary. This report talks about maintaining the working age population. They throw around terms like support ratios and demographic trends. Let's be clear, this isn't just about immigration. This is about transforming entire nations through demographic engineering. They're not just addressing a natural issue like aging populations. We're seeing millions pour over the border, and it's no accident. This is by design. The globalists want to tear down borders, blur cultures, and make us all part of a controlled system. The crime rates are rising, the political divide is deepening, and the social fabric is being torn apart. I'm going to show you exactly how these plans are connected to today's migration crises. First, understand that this isn't a grassroots movement of desperate people fleeing bad situations. No. This is orchestrated, folks. The globalists are using migration as a tool to disrupt national stability and dilute the cultural and political power of sovereign nations. It's all about control. By flooding countries with mass migration, they destabilize local economies, strain social services, and ultimately weaken the political voice of the native population.
So as he said, this is classic divide and conquer on a global scale. All by design. Order out of chaos. Kamala know what she's doing. She's the border czar. She's responsible for this. And Joe Biden, all of them, they know what they were doing. This was all part of the plan. And so there was people, like in countries like Venezuela and them, they were told, hey, release, if you release, there's people being released from their prisons to come here. There's a full interview of this with Dr. Phil, but I'm going to let you see this clip right here.
So you're telling me that DHS has acknowledged that Venezuela, for example, is emptying their prisons and their rehabilitation centers with the understanding you get out if you leave here and go to the United States?
Yes.
And DHS has, in writing, said, we know that's happening. We know they're coming here. We're processing them in and have no idea where they are.
Correct.
So you're telling me that DHS has acknowledged that Venezuela, for example, is emptying their prisons and their rehabilitation centers with the understanding you get out if you leave here and go to the United States?
Yes.
And DHS has, in writing, said, we know that's happening. We know they're coming here. We're processing them in and have no idea where they are.
Correct.
So you see, they're telling them, okay, we're going to empty our prisons. No wonder, like Trump said, no wonder crime has gone down in their countries. No wonder things are a little better in some areas of their countries, because they're told, okay, hey, we let you guys out because the borders are open in America. This is go ahead, go. Don't you come back here. This is why Cuba and other countries are doing this, because they're trying to get rid of the criminals in their country because of what's happening. This is why you have Venezuelan gangs. If you look at a channel called Cash Jordan, Venezuelan gangs taking over in cities like New York, and because the mayor dares to say something about it, this is why they try to indict him over the stuff because he was coming out against this whole crap that was going on. And it don't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, whoever you are. If you go against the powers that be, if you go against the dictator in chief, Biden and Harris and all of them, Harris who put Tulsi Gabbard on a no-flight list, or just all this other stuff. If you speak against that, they'll come after you. So watch this real quick.
He said of Kamala's visit to the border yesterday, I stood with President Trump when he actually went to the border, to areas that are notorious for drug smuggling and human smuggling and are very dangerous. He stood there. He spoke to the agents for a long period of time. He's been speaking to the boots on the ground for 8 years and a lot. He stood there for over an hour in 110-degree temperatures with heat. It was a hot day, I will say, but the heat was crazy. But with families of victims and illegal aliens, and he spoke to reporters. Vice President Harris went down there. She didn't speak to the agents, and as a former president of the National Border Patrol Council, great guy, Brandon Judge said, President Trump's actions secured the border. Kamala Harris's actions completely opened up the border and made it very unsafe. And I just want you to take a look at this little video. We had a video planned, and we're going to use it, even though it was supposed to be for 50,000 people. But maybe they have a little television set outside that they're watching it. But you have to take a look at this, please.
I know the importance of safety and security, especially at our border.
Who really is Kamala Harris? She's been telling us her entire career.
I support our sanctuary law.
The illegal immigrant deported multiple times who stands accused of killing Kate Steinle.
An undocumented immigrant is not a criminal.
Also, I urge to reject that term illegal alien.
Are you aware that there's a perception? Are you aware that there's a perception?
That puts ICE in the same category as the KKK. Is that what you're asking me?
Abolish ICE. Yeah, is that a position that you agree with? And we need to probably think about starting from scratch. We're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals.
I am opposed to any policy that would deny any human being public health, period.
Would you be committing to close immigration detention centers?
Absolutely, on
DHS applied consequences the last 2.5 years. 10 million illegal encounters, 2 million gotaways, 600% increase in sex trafficking, more terrorists coming across the border, a record number of people off the terrorist watch list, and over 250,000 Americans dead to fentanyl that comes across the border. Consequences, you want to be consequential for failure.
We have a secure border. The border is secure.
Sickening new details about the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The 22-year-old was beaten to death with a mystery object.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't.
Kamala Harris. Do you trust her to stop the invasion?
There's other videos I was trying to put together. They put together a bunch of other ones where she's getting fact checked on a bunch of different things, and I wanted to keep this one specifically on the border. But sorry for the video being a little choppy towards the end and all the other stuff blurring in. But be careful who you get behind. Let me ask you something. Would you take care of your everyone else as someone else's household when you have a household to take care of, and yet you neglect your own household but make sure the needs of everyone else is met while seeing your children, your household go destitute without nothing and just suffer and wither away? Nah, I didn't think you would. So why, as a person who's a leader of this country, co-leader, vice president, whoever, do that and be in alignment or agreement to allow such things to be the borders are? Instead, she could say, no, I don't want to be a part of that. I cannot do that. Yeah, they probably would have replaced her, but at least she would have stood her ground and stood on business on where she really would feel, how she would feel. I mean, immigration legally is the right way. My wife came in legally, did the paperwork legally, but they're trying to make it all these other issues when it's not about escaping, getting away from your country and all that. Has nothing to do with that. They open up the borders because it's all part of a plan from a 2000 the year of 2000 United Nations document. That's what this whole thing is about. To destroy this country, order out of chaos, and then they want to come in as the saviors of the world with a solution, which the solution being worse than the problem itself that they created. So you better understand who you're bringing in, when you say I'm with her, because everything that they're doing now, giving all these illegals benefits, veterans can't get nothing. People suffering here, tax-paying citizens can't get nothing. They get thousands in some of these liberal, left-leaning, progressive cities with these city councilmen. As one called on a hot mic in Springfield, Ohio, said we don't give a blank about them. They don't, because they're getting paid off. Hell will be their reward if they don't repent. Yes, they're going to pay. They're going to suffer. They're going to answer to God for this. But stand up for what you believe in. Share this video. God bless you.